The hour of convening having arrived, all members will please take their seats. All members will report to the floor of the House and take their seats, and the clerk will ring the bell. All members will please take their seats where we are about to have the morning roll call. Calling members forth from the hallways and the anterooms. We're going to have the morning roll call. All members present will please vote green to signify their presence in the chamber, and the clerk will unlock the machines. Representative Dukes, would you vote present for Representative Dickerson? Thank you. Have all members voted? Have all members voted? If so, the clerk will lock the machines. Doorkeepers will please close the doors and keep them closed. Well, good morning. We got a busy morning here today. And we've now we almost have completed 4 legislative days. So we're moving along. We will begin our day with scripture, reading, and prayer by the chaplain, after which we will pledge allegiance to the flag of our country. Our chaplain this morning will be introduced by the lady from the 113th House District, Representative Pam Dickerson. Representative Dickerson.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and to my colleagues, good morning. It is my pleasure and my honor to introduce my friend and my pastor of Springfield Baptist Church, Pastor Eric Wendell Lee, who has a litany of accomplishments and experiences from various disciplines and fields. A graduate of Morehouse College in Atlanta, Georgia, he earned his bachelor's degree with honors in history and thereafter deemed by Vanderbilt University Divinity School as their Kelly Smith Scholar. Deeply affected by the plight of the poor and the disaffected, Pastor Lee concentrated in ethics, religion, and society at Vanderbilt, receiving honors for his senior project. During his time, he served as a radio talk host at Fisk University. He worked in Nashville, and he also worked as a professional child advocate in Indianapolis, Indiana, and Atlanta, Georgia. Subsequent to his master's degree in divinity, Pastor Lee was ordained to the Christian ministry on May 11, 1996. Pastor Lee has joined with the former Meek L. John, and they had 4 beautiful children. Pastor Lee and his wife are 2007 graduates of Leadership Georgia. In 2008, Pastor Lee was recognized by the Atlanta Business Chronicle as one of Atlanta's 100 most influential pastors. Understanding the necessity of education and preparation, Pastor Lee returned to the academy as a Doctor of Divinity, as a Doctor of Ministry candidate and Redemptive Leadership track at the Gordon Conwell Theological School. Spiritual growth continues to be manifested as his church membership has grown from 162 members to 7,000. Springfield now serves 5 generations with more than 40 ministries. They have a preschool, daycare, and members in the community alike via the Springfield Christian Academy, which opened its doors in May 2002. Once again, it's my pleasure to introduce my pastor, Pastor Eric Wendell Lee. Thank you.
To Speaker Ralston and to the Honorable Pam Dickerson and to all of the members of the Georgia Congress of Representatives, the Assembly, and all who have gathered today. It is a privilege and an honor to address you on this most auspicious occasion and sacred day. Luke's Gospel, the 10th chapter, there is a word from the Lord beginning at the 25th verse. On one occasion, an expert in the law stood up to test Jesus. "Teacher," he asked, "what must I do to inherit eternal life?" "What is written in the law?" he replied. "How do you read it?" he answered. "Love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul and with all your strength and with all your mind, and love your neighbor as yourself." "You have answered correctly," Jesus replied. "Do this and you will live." But he wanted to justify himself, so he asked Jesus, "And who is my neighbor?" Rockdale County in the year 1870 was born by sacrificial contributions from its neighbors. DeKalb County to its west, Newton County to its east, Gwinnett and Walton County to its north, and Henry County to its south. Representative Dickerson and I serve a community, a county that would not have been possible without sacrificial giving from a neighbor. The gold dome under which we sit and stand this morning was constructed because of gifts from Dahlonega and from all over the state of Georgia. And we are adorned with a gold dome because of the sacrifice of neighbors. In their book entitled The Art of Neighboring, two authors from Denver, Colorado, Pethick and Runyon, spoke of how they intended to make change in their city. And they discovered that regardless of race and party affiliation and religious affiliation, that if we only took seriously what we call the greatest commandment, love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your strength, with all your mind, and love your neighbor as yourself, then things in the community would begin to transform. They found that when they took the great commandment seriously, that they could address crises in a way that pleased God and brought people together. They found that when they took the greatest commandment seriously, that good schools became great schools and bad schools became good schools. The elderly were cared for. The poor were not neglected. And everyone who wanted a job found a job. They found that there was little discrimination on race and gender and class. They found that there could be indeed liberty and justice for all when we took the greatest commandment seriously. They committed as a city to take the greatest commandment to heart, not metaphorically but literally, and amazing transformation took place. A turnaround took place. They do not make excuses, and they do not fail to remind us that it's difficult to be a good neighbor. It's not easy. It's risky, it's frustrating, it's inconvenient. Yet we are called by sacred documents to love our neighbor as ourselves. And perhaps God has a sense of humor, because it appears that in 2 weeks, Atlanta will have to host the New Orleans Saints. Sometimes being a good neighbor causes you to do things you don't want to do, go places you don't want to go, say things you don't want to say. I'm a 47-year-old proud African-American man, descended from slaves, and I remind you that the first documented African slaves were brought to this continent 400 years ago in 1619. This week, I was asked to eulogize a 72-year-old woman who can trace her heritage back to the Mayflower, a daughter of the Revolution and a daughter of the Confederacy. We didn't always support the same policies. We didn't always vote for the same candidates. We're from different generations, different ethnicities. We had different ideas. But we had the same Savior. And because we had the same Savior, we were neighbors. I'd be remiss as a Morehouse man not to mention that Dr. Martin Luther King's birthday will be observed in short order. And there is some confusion or some controversy as to which is his favorite hymn. But I've always believed it to be, if I can help somebody as I travel along, if I can help somebody with a word or a song, if I can help somebody from doing wrong, then my living will not be in vain. There is a neighbor that needs to hear from you, a furloughed federal worker who needs groceries and a light bill paid, a victim of family violence or sexual assault who needs your watchful and prayerful eye, an elderly neighbor who needs your company and conversation. I leave you with this short story of a couple with a 2-year-old child who moved into a new neighborhood. As a matter of fact, when they moved into a neighborhood, it was just the two of them. And they met on that first day of their move, their new neighbor, a man named Ken, who was outside doing yard work. In the corresponding 2 years, that couple had a baby girl. And as time and chance happens to all of us, Ken passed away. And then one day at the door, Ken's daughter showed up with tears in her eyes to meet the couple who had moved in next door to their father and had a 2-year-old daughter. She explained that her father had purchased Christmas gifts for that 2-year-old child for the next 14 years. And she gave him 14 years worth of gifts. And they had only been neighbors for 2 years. I just believe this morning that when we are neighbors, it comes back 7 times greater than what we gave. Let us pray. God of our weary years, God of our silent tears, Thou who hast brought us thus far along the way, Thou who hast by Thy might led us into the light, keep us forever in the path we pray. God, we pray that you would bring into existence what our new governor has declared, a Georgia united. In Christ's name we pray. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Sir? Session.
I think that it will not return empty, void. That's right.
Yes, sir. Best wishes on today.
Keep us in your prayers.
Doorkeepers will unlock the doors. The chair recognizes Chairman Taylor, the chair of the Committee on Information and Audits.
Mr. Speaker, your Committee on Information and Audits have reviewed and read the proceedings of the previous legislative day and found them to be correct.
Chairman Taylor, the chair of the Committee on Information and Audits, reports that the journal of the previous legislative day has been read and found to be correct. Is there any objection to the confirmation of the journal? The chair hears none, and the journal is confirmed. The clerk will read the resolution establishing the order of business for the day.
Mr. Burns, on order 59, move the following be established as the order of business during the first part of the period of unanimous consent. Introduction of bills and resolutions. First reading and reference of House bills and resolutions. Second reading of bills and resolutions. Morning orders.
Is there any objection to the adoption of the resolution establishing the order of business for the day? The chair hears none, and the resolution is adopted. First reading of bills and resolutions. The clerk will read.
House Bill 7 by Representative Petrie of the 166th, Hitchens the 161st, Blackman the 146th, Clark the 147th, Belton the 112th, and others. Bill being entitled an act to amend in Chapter 7, Title 48, the official code of Georgia annotated relating to income taxes.
Ways and Means.
House Bill 24 by Representative Jones the 91st. Bill being entitled an act to amend Chapter 1 of Title 45, the official code of Georgia annotated relating to general provisions regarding public officers.
Governmental Affairs.
House Bill 25 by Representative Belton the 112th, Hitchens the 161st, Williams the 168th, Blackman the 146th, Glanton the 75th, and others. Bill being entitled an act to amend Article 5 of Chapter 4, Title 10, and Chapter 1 of Title 13, the official code of Georgia annotated relating to self-service storage facilities and general provisions regarding contracts.
Judiciary.
House Bill 26 by Representative Belton the 112th, Hitchens the 161st, Williams the 168th, Blackman the 146th, Glanton the 75th, and others. Bill being entitled an act to amend Chapter 39 and Title 43, the official code of Georgia annotated relating to psychologists.
Interstate Cooperation.
House Bill 27 by Representative Belton of the 112th. The bill being entitled an act to amend Chapter 2 of Title 21 of the official code of Georgia annotated relating to elections and primaries generally.
Governmental Affairs.
House Bill 28 by Representative Mathiak of the 73rd, Knight of the 130th, Pullen of the 131st, Bazemore of the 63rd, and Stover of the 71st, and others. The bill being entitled an act to amend Code Sections 15-6-2 of the official code of Georgia annotated relating the number of judges of superior courts.
Judiciary.
House Bill 29 by Representative Petrie of the 166th, Stevens of the 164th, Hitchens of the 161st, Gordon of the 163rd, Stevens of the 165th, and others. Bill being entitled an act to amend and act to incorporate the city of Skidaway Island.
Intergovernmental Coordination.
House Resolution Number 2 by Representative Turner of the 21st, Perk of the 155th, Tarvin the 2nd, Clark of the 147th. A resolution ratifying the amendment to the Constitution of the United States prohibiting the use of poll taxes.
Judiciary.
House Resolution 30 by Representative Bernal of the 77th, McLean of the 100th, Scott of the 76th, Glanton of the 75th, Stovall of the 74th. A A resolution honoring the life of Mr. Charles Chuck Ware Sr. and dedicating a road in his memory.
Transportation.
House Resolution number 37 by Representative Tanner of the 9th, England of the 116th, Prince of the 127th, Harrell of the 106th, Smith of the 133rd. A resolution creating the Georgia Commission on Freight and Logistics.
Transportation.
House Resolution 38 by Representative Kendrick of the 93rd, Smiler of the 135th, Shannon of the 84th, Scott of the 76th, and Bernal of the 77th. A resolution creating the House Study Committee on historically black colleges and universities in science and technology, engineering, and mathematics.
Special rules.
That completes first readers.
Second reading of bills and resolutions. The clerk will read.
House Bill 1 by Representative Petrie of the 166th, Stevens of the 164th, Hitchens of the 161st, Gilliard of the 162nd, and Nolowitz of the 42nd, and others. A bill relating to scholarship program for special needs students. House Bill 8 by Representative Buckner of the 137th, Trammell of the 132nd, Stevens of the 164th, Mathiak of the 73rd, Houston of the 170th, and others. A bill relating to sales and use taxes. House Bill 9 by Representative Mathiak of the 73rd, a bill relating to liens of hospitals and nursing homes. House Bill 10 by Representative Bazemore of the 63rd, by Representative Hughley of the 136th, Buckner of the 137th, Jones of the 47th, Bennett of the 94th, a bill relating to competencies and core curriculum. House Bill 21 by Representative Evstration of the 104th, Moran of the 96th, Park of the 101st, Clark of the 98th, Kendrick of the 93rd, and others. A bill relating to the number of judges of the Superior Courts. House Bill 22 by Representative Houston of the 170th, Powell of the 171st, England of the 116th, Watson of the 172nd, Corbett of the 174th, and others. A bill relating to public utilities and public transportation. House Bill 23 by Representative Houston of the 170th, Powell of the 171st, England of the 116th, Watson of the 172nd, Corbett of the 174th, and others. A bill relating to public utilities and public transportation. House Resolution 4 by Representative Turner of the 21st, Caldwell of the 20th, Clark of the 147th, a resolution ratifying an amendment to the Constitution of the United States repealing the 18th Amendment regarding prohibition. House Resolution 17 by Representative Turner of the 21st and Caldwell of the 20th, resolution ratifying the amendment to the Constitution of the United States regarding presidential succession and disability. House Resolution 18 by Representative Hughley of the 136th, Williams of the 168th, and Smyrie of the 135th, resolution compensating Mr. J. Keith Bendre Robinson Sr. through second readers.
Clerk will read the caption to a group of privilege resolutions.
Recognizing and commending Milton H. Woody Woodside upon the grand occasion of his retirement. Commending and congratulating Maggie Katie Brown Kidd. Honoring the life and memory of Betty Davis. Recognizing and commending the 2018 Atlanta Braves and the team's award-winning players and manager. Recognizing and commending the 2018 Atlanta Braves and the team's award-winning players and manager. Commending the Cali Herald and Anna Shelnut. Commending the Heard County High School football team for winning the 2018 GSHA 2A State Football Championship. And for other purposes, that completes the reading of the privilege resolutions.
Is there any objection to adopting the privilege resolutions? The chair hears none and the resolutions are adopted. Okay, we've got a little business that we need to get done, and we're on a short time frame here this morning. So let's begin to start clearing the aisles. We're going to do morning orders here momentarily. We're going to have distinguished guests that will be coming onto the floor of the House in preparation for the State of the State. And there's a lot of empty chairs out there. Before we begin morning orders, the chair is very happy to announce that we just got word a few minutes ago that Representative Susan Holmes' surgery has been completed. She's in recovery. The doctors believe it was a total success. She probably will be discharged. Amen. She will probably be discharged from the hospital, I'm told, by tomorrow, and should early next week be able to resume a full schedule. Let's continue to keep her in your prayers, along with Chairman Tom McCall and, of course, Chairman Butch Parrish. We're going on now to morning orders. Chair recognizes Representative Geoff Jones for a morning order. Yeah. Let's please, gentlemen, suspend. You know, we really haven't started much business here. I can't imagine why conversations are that necessary and critical here this morning. I would ask one more time that we give the gentleman or any other member in the well on morning orders your attention and respect. Gentlemen may proceed.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Speaker and members of the House. This body has a rich history of recognizing and honoring our law enforcement officers and individuals, particularly those who die in the line of service. So this morning we're here, and I would ask you to rise, please. We're here to pay our respects to Ludowici, City of Ludowici Police Chief McClelland. Chief McClelland was serving and filling his role as police chief, was killed by a driver passing through Long County in the course of a high-speed chase. Chief McClelland was actually off duty, had gone home for the day, got the call that a high-speed chase was leaving Liberty County and proceeding into Long County. He returned to duty and was on duty at an intersection, Highway 84 in Long County, doing his job and protecting the citizens and keeping the traffic aside as that high-speed chase proceeded through the town of Ludowici. Unfortunately, the chief was struck and killed by the driver driving at a high speed. He leaves a wife and family and was a well-respected member of the community and the police force. There was another victim, another citizen was also killed as a result of the accident. Just an innocent bystander, gentleman riding a motorcycle from Midway, Georgia, was also struck and killed as a result of the driver losing control after having struck the police chief. So just ask that you bow your heads in a moment of silence for Chief McClelland of Ludowici. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Chair recognizes Representative Gertler for a morning order.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I just wanted to give everybody a brief update on my bill, House Bill 2. I introduced it 2 years ago, and I reintroduced it this year. Essentially, you probably got a lot of emails on it. One of the biggest issues we had during the governor's race was this issue and a policy that the current governor does support. Basically, what it does, about a dozen states have passed constitutional carry. Essentially what it does is make the Georgia weapons license optional. So if you can illegally own a firearm in Georgia, you'll be allowed to legally open or concealed carry that firearm. And it's a good sound policy for Georgians. If you'd like to talk to me more about it, be on the House floor. I've collected signatures, and I appreciate the time. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Chair recognizes Representative Moore for a morning order.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Ladies and gentlemen of the House, I sponsored House Bill 2, Mr. Gertler's bill, and I would encourage you all to do so. I would encourage you to sponsor it not because some belligerent lobbyist calls you and says support it, but I hope you would support it based on the principles of the bill. There's hardworking Georgians who sometimes have to mean a good grocery list for the week or a gun permit. So it's a tax on a God-given right, and we shouldn't support that. To my new friends over on the Democratic side, well, I would ask, if you can, to support it. You know, we would never want to tax the use of social media in our state, and that's a God-given right, free speech. So I look at it the same way. So if you can, please sponsor House Bill 2. Thank you.
Chair recognizes the Majority Leader of the House to introduce the Doctor of the Day.
You good?
I am.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Good morning, colleagues. We have 3 doctors today, and when you get to my age, you can never have enough doctors in the House. I'm going to tell you that. I'm very pleased today to introduce our Doctor of the Day, Dr. Priscilla Thomas. Dr. Thomas was born in Bahrain in 1985 and immigrated to this country in 1989. She attended medical school at University of Missouri in Kansas City after graduating from high school at 16 years of age. She began her general surgery residency program there and then moved to Children's Mercy Hospital in Kansas City to conduct a year of pediatric surgery research. Dr. Thomas completed her residency at University of North Dakota and graduated in 2015. She was a fellow through the Mastery of General Surgery program, and upon completion in 2016, joined her current practice with Dr. John Odom at Metro Surgical in Savannah. And I'll tell you, Metro Surgical, Dr. Thomas, and especially Dr. Odom have been champions for rural health care in this state, and we certainly appreciate their advocacy. Along with Dr. Thomas today, we have Dr. Adams and Dr. Barnes, who are fellows of the Mastery of General Surgery practice through St. Joseph's Candler Hospital in Savannah. Something we funded here thanks to the Representative Chairman England and the Speaker and this body, and especially Chairman Butch Parrish, to make sure we follow up on this fellowship program, to make sure we return and encourage good quality health access to all of Georgians. We appreciate their commitment to rural Georgia, and this time I'd ask you to welcome our doctors of the day, but especially our doctor of the day, Dr. Thomas, to the People's House. Dr. Thomas.
Thank you very much for that wonderful introduction. Thank you, Speaker Ralston and Leader Burns, for this honor. I would like to recognize the work of Chairman Parrish and Colonel Bill Hitchens, as well as thank the House for allowing me to serve here today. It is an incredible privilege to be before you, and I would like to thank each member for your unwavering commitment to medical education and quality health care for all Georgians. We hope to utilize our Mastery of General Surgery program to increase the surgical workforce for rural Georgia communities who are in need of a general surgeon. Thank you again for your time today. Thank you.
Okay, listen up if you would, if I could have your attention. The chair wants to go ahead at this time and appoint the Committee of Escort for the Governor of Georgia for the State of the State this morning. And the Committee of Escort will be Representative Rogers from the 10th District, Representative LaRicchia from the 164th District, Representative 169th, I'm sorry, I needed my glasses on. Representative Lott from the 122nd, Representative Reeves from the 34th, Representative Gaines from the 117th, Representative Wiedauer from the 119th, Representative Fry from the 118th, Representative Dollar from the 45th, Representative David Clark from the 98th, Representative Ridley from the 6th, and Representative Hughley from the 136th. Well, the chair was going to try to save us a little time by going ahead and doing birthday greetings, but trying to see if all the birthday honorees are on the floor. They've been called away for high matters of state. All right, we're going to go ahead. Please join me in wishing a happy birthday on January 17 to Representative Josh McLaurin. Representative McLaurin. Just what you had always wanted, to spend a birthday in your first week here, right? So, January 20th, Chairman Gerald Green. January 22nd, Representative John LaHood. January 23rd, Representative Scott Turner. January 23rd, Representative Noel Williams. And January 27th, Representative Greg Kennard. I want every member of this House to immediately come to the floor and take your seats. Immediately. ask you to remain seated and on your best behavior. And let's show the other chamber who the mature chamber is, who the well-behaved chamber is, and who's going to lead this session, okay? Madam Doorkeeper.
Mr. Speaker, the President Pro Tem, and the members of the Senate await entrance to the House chamber.
Madam Doorkeeper, please allow the President Pro Tem, and the members of the Senate to enter the House chamber, and will the messenger please escort them to their designated seats. I guess I don't have any authority over the members of the Senate, but I sure would appreciate House members taking your seats. And we're going to come to order, and I just want, this is quite a thrill for me to get to introduce the Lieutenant Governor for the first time. I tell people, first of all, he's a good man. Secondly, he had great training in this house. And I am looking forward to working with Lieutenant Governor Geoff Duncan. Please help me welcome to the podium the presiding officer for today's joint session, the Lieutenant Governor of Georgia, Geoff Duncan.
Thank you. Everyone, please take your seats. I've been looking forward to this day for a long time. Members of the General Assembly, the joint session will come to order. All members will take their seats. Mr. Sergeant at Arms.
President, the Honorable Harold Melton, Chief Justice of the Supreme Court, the Justices of the Supreme Court, and the Judges of the Court of Appeal wait entrance into the chamber.
Please allow the Honorable Melton, Chief Justice of the Supreme Court, the Justices of the Supreme Court, and the Judges of the Court of Appeals access to the chamber. The House Messenger will escort them to their seats. Will all members take their seats? Will the Secretary read a resolution?
House Resolution 14 by Representative Burns, the 159th, calling a joint session of the House of Representatives and the Senate for the purpose of hearing a message from the governor inviting the justices of the Supreme Court and the judges of the Court of Appeals to be present at the joint session and for other purposes. Be it resolved by the General Assembly of Georgia that His Excellency, Governor Brian Kemp, is hereby invited to address a joint session of the House of Representatives and the Senate at 11 o'clock a.m. Thursday, January 17th, 2019, in the hall of the House of Representatives. Be it further resolved that the joint session of the House of Representatives and the Senate be held in the hall of the House of Representatives at 10:45 a.m. on the aforesaid date for the purpose of hearing an address from His Excellency the Governor. Be it further resolved that a committee of 14, 7 from the House, named by the Speaker, and 7 from the Senate, to be named by the President of the Senate, to be appointed to escort His Excellency the Governor to the hall of the House of Representatives. Be it further resolved that the justices of the Supreme Court and the judges of the Court of Appeals are hereby extended an invitation to be present at the joint session. Be it further resolved that the Clerk of House of Representatives is hereby instructed to transmit a copy of this resolution to the Governor, to each justice of the Supreme Court, and to each judge of the Court of Appeals.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary. At this time, I'd like to recognize some special people that we have here with us today. Would you please stand and be recognized? First, I'd like to recognize a good friend and the Speaker of the House, David Ralston. I'd like to recognize the Speaker Pro Tem, Jan Jones. President Pro Tem of the Senate, Butch Miller. Constitutional officers of the state of Georgia. Mayor Keisha Lance Bottoms. Justices of the Supreme Court. And judges of the Court of Appeals. Three of our most distinguished guests here today. Miss Cherie Bradburn, First Lady of the House. One that is special to me, the First Lady of the Senate, Brooke Duncan. And the First Lady of Georgia, Marty Kemp. Would everyone please take your seats? Mr. Sergeant at Arms.
Mr. President, His Excellency, the Honorable Brian P. Kemp, Governor of the great state of Georgia, and the Committee of Escort await admittance into the chamber.
Mr. Sergeant at Arms, please allow the Honorable Brian P. Kemp, Governor of the great state of Georgia, and his Committee of Escort into the chamber. Everyone, please take your seats. What a great honor it is to stand here today and be given the opportunity to introduce the 83rd Governor of Georgia. Additionally, it's an honor to be back in these House chambers with so many friends and colleagues. Definitely a lot of good memories for me in this chamber here. And it feels like yesterday that I was sitting back there in that corner next to Representative Dewey McClain. And I'm not sure if your new seatmate has figured out yet, but you're very shy and timid and reserved. But sure enough, they will soon. Over the last 2 years, I've gotten to know Brian Kemp, Governor Kemp. I've gotten to know where he stands on policy. I've gotten to see how hard he works. And I've gotten to see how much he loves this great state of Georgia. For me, the most impressive part about Governor Kemp is his character. His integrity is unmistakable. He's always on a continual mission to do the right thing. His honesty is unmistakable. And his commitment to his family is unmistakable. Marty and the girls mean the world to him. And it doesn't take more than a second to recognize that when you walk in the same room with him. It is an honor for me to introduce to you my friend and our governor, Brian P. Kemp.
Hey, I appreciate you being accommodating with Marty today. It's going to be awesome. We appreciate that. Thank y'all very much. Yeah. Hey, it was good to see y'all. Thank y'all. Thank you very much. pleasure. Thank you. Mike, you got a good week. Yes, sir. We're going to keep it going.
You want me to take the binder out of the way?
Yeah, that'd be great. Are you ready to go, Mr. Speaker? Very good. Thank you very much. Thank you all so much. It's an honor to be here. Lieutenant Governor Duncan, Speaker Ralston, President Pro Tem Miller, Speaker Pro Tem Jones, members of the General Assembly, constitutional officers, members of the Judiciary, Mayor Bottoms, and members of the Consular Corps, and my fellow Georgians. During the Sermon on the Mount, Jesus tells a parable about two builders. The wise builder built his house on the rock. As the parable goes, the rain came down, the floods came, but it didn't fall, for it was founded on the rock. But the second builder was foolish. He built his house on sand. There was a great storm, and his house washed away. As a builder, this story has always resonated with me. You have to pour concrete before you can frame a house. You must build on solid ground. Over the last 16 years, our state has experienced incredible growth and economic opportunity. Wages are rising, and the unemployment rate is the lowest in 18 years. Thanks to the hard work of the legislature, Georgia is now the top state for business 6 years in a row. With low taxes, a business-friendly government, and access to logistics hubs like the Port of Savannah and Hartsfield-Jackson International Airport, Georgia is the epicenter of job growth, the Hollywood of the South, and soon to be the cyber capital of the world. Through our state's oldest and largest industry, Georgia farmers are also feeding millions of people in countries across the globe. Thanks to the leadership and wisdom of Governors Sonny Perdue and Nathan Deal, Georgia has a solid foundation. The state of the state is rock solid. Over the last 8 years, we saw 800,000 brand new private sector jobs created in Georgia. These investments touch every industry imaginable. In agribusiness with machinery manufacturers like Caterpillar and Kubota, and food processing companies like Purdue Farms and Harrison Poultry. In aerospace and aviation with Gulfstream, Pratt & Whitney, and Travel Sky. In healthcare with Athena Health, Greenway Medical Technologies, and Kaiser Permanente. In cyber innovation with AirWatch, Honeywell, and Unisys. In manufacturing with Precision Products, Toyo Tire, and SK Innovation. And in transportation and supply chain infrastructure with Hopag Lloyd and Norfolk Southern Corporation. I applaud Governor Deal, Economic Development Commissioner Pat Wilson, and department officials for working to create economic opportunity, not only in Atlanta Metro, but in every corner of this great state. As governor, I will continue to work with state and local officials to recruit industry leaders to Georgia. Through the Georgians First Commission, we will review regulations that make it difficult for job creators to hire, expand, and invest. We will work to make government more efficient and put hardworking Georgians first. I'm confident that we can build a stronger, more diverse economy, and we can add a new designation for Georgia's resume, #1 for small business. With conservative budgeting, Georgia has maintained a AAA bond rating. Our rainy day fund now stands at $2.5 billion. Our fiscal house is certainly in order. Last year, the legislature lowered the state income tax rates and fully funded public school education. I'm confident that we can do it again. A lot of hard work on that for you guys. To enhance educational outcomes and build a 21st century state, we must invest in those who educate, inspire, and lead our students. 44% of our teachers leave the profession within the first 5 years. To recruit and retain the best and brightest in our schools, we must remove heavy burdens in the classroom and keep teacher pay competitive. My 2020 budget proposal includes a $3,000 permanent salary increase for certified Georgia teachers. This is the largest pay increase for teachers in Georgia history and serves as a sizable down payment on my promise to ultimately raise pay by $5,000. We will also include a 2% merit increase for all state employees. These hard-working Georgians play a vital role in serving our families and crafting Georgia's future. We must continue to reward their efforts. In addition to the investments in personnel, we also must prioritize school safety. In the amended budget for 2019, I have included $69 million in one-time funds for school security grants. All 2,294 public schools in our state will receive $30,000 to implement school security priorities determined by local school boards, administrators, teachers, parents, and students. But to keep our classrooms safe, we also must address the mental health issues that often lead to school violence. With $8.4 million in additional funding through the successful APEX program, we can focus on mental health in Georgia high schools. These professionals will engage with struggling students and provide critical resources to prevent potential disruptive and aggressive behavior. They will inspire, mentor, and keep our kids safe. Together, we will secure our classrooms and protect our state's most treasured assets, our children. With your help, we will continue to build. With places like Atlanta, Augusta, Savannah, and Columbus continuing to grow and thrive, it still feels like the Great Recession in parts of rural Georgia. Businesses are closing. Opportunities are drying up. People are losing faith. But as governor, I will work to ensure that someone's potential is not determined by their zip code or their county. By working with the House Rural Development Council and their colleagues in the Senate, we can expand access to high-speed internet, quality health care, and a good education. Through strategic partnerships, we can ensure that every part of our state has access to opportunity, that kids can graduate and raise their families where they were raised, that local companies in rural Georgia can thrive, that farmers and agribusiness leaders can get their Georgia-grown products to the marketplace, and that every Georgian is equipped with the right tools to succeed. By working across party lines, we can and we will stand with those impacted by Hurricane Michael. Thank you. In the aftermath of the storm, I witnessed firsthand the devastation in South Georgia. The storm damaged forests, groves, and fields. It ripped away homes, churches, and livelihoods. Today, we are joined by a hardworking farmer who runs his family cotton, soybean, and timber farm in Donaldsonville, Georgia. He represents only one of the countless Georgians who took a severe hit from Hurricane Michael, but is determined to move forward. This farmer and family man, Greg Mims, sits in the gallery today, and it's my honor to recognize him. I want to thank President Trump, Vice President Mike Pence, Agriculture Secretary Sonny Perdue, Governor Deal, and you all, the members of the General Assembly, as well as Agriculture Commissioner Gary Black, for their solid leadership in the wake of this disaster. Thank you so much. I want to also applaud the efforts of officials at DNR, GEMA, the Georgia Forestry Commission, Georgia National Guard, Department of Public Safety, Department of Public Health, Department of Corrections, Department of Community Supervision, and all of the first responders who provided necessary aid after the storm. Thank you. We will continue these recovery efforts. Let's revive, rebuild, and renew hope in rural Georgia. There's no doubt that criminal justice reform will be a lasting legacy of the Deal administration. Without question, the leadership of Governor Deal and the General Assembly has changed our state for the better. I look forward to supporting initiatives that save cost, strengthen communities, and give nonviolent offenders a second chance at life. To keep all Georgians safe, we must build on these reform efforts. Today, I'm honored to have one of Georgia's most distinguished members of our law enforcement family here with us. He is a fighter in the strongest sense of a word and a true hero among us. Last year, he was wounded in the line of duty and nearly lost his life. While chasing a criminal, he was shot literally right between the eyes. After multiple surgeries, I'm proud to tell you that he's with us today next to his wife, Kristen, in the gallery, help me in joining and thanking Covington Police Officer Matt Cooper. Coop, just know that we are continuing to pray for your recovery. As Georgians, we must never forget the sacrifices of our law enforcement community. Last year, 6 officers paid the ultimate price in protecting and serving Georgians' communities. To the loved ones of Locust Grove Police Officer Chase Maddox, Savannah Police Officer Anthony Christie, Ludowici Police Chief Frank McClellan Jr., Gwinnett Police Officer Antoine Toney, DeKalb Police Officer Edgar Flores, and Henry County Police Officer Michael Smith. You remain in our thoughts and our prayers. Their service, their service will never be forgotten, and we will always be forever grateful. Fellow Georgians, it's time to build. It's time to renew our commitment to public safety. It's time to honor those that we lost by taking action. As governor, I'm committed to addressing the rise of gang activity in our state, a growing threat requiring our immediate attention. According to a recent survey conducted by the Georgia Gang Investigators Association, there are over 71,000 validated gang affiliates and 1,500 suspected gang networks in our state. These gangs are pawns for the Mexican drug cartels, pushing opioids and drugs. They are buying and selling our children for sex. My budget proposal includes $500,000 in initial funds to form a gang task force within the GBI. This highly qualified group of experienced law enforcement personnel and prosecutors will work with local district attorneys and law enforcement to stop and dismantle gangs in Georgia. By utilizing the criminal gang and criminal alien database, which will be funded with existing resources from the Criminal Justice Coordinating Council, we will track and deport drug cartel kingpins who are terrorizing our communities. By working with attorney By working with Attorney General Chris Carr, federal, state, and local partners, we can undermine organized crime. Together, we can build a safer future for all Georgia families. Finally, while different parts of our state have unique challenges and concerns, all Georgians deserve a patient-centered health care system that puts families first. The status quo is unacceptable. 79 counties have no OBGYN. 64 counties, no pediatrician. 9 counties have no doctor. Insurers are leaving our state, and hard-working Georgians are struggling to pay their premiums. I have included $1 million in the Department of Community Health's budget to craft state flexibility options for Georgia's Medicaid program. We will expand access without expanding a broken system that fails to deliver for patients. We will drive competition and improve quality while encouraging innovation. I will work with the legislature to grow the rural hospital tax credit, tackle the doctor shortage, and build a healthier Georgia. As we envision and plan for Georgia's future, we should not forget how we got here, the road traveled, and the people who stood with us. Today, my wife Marty and our daughters Lucy, Jarrett, and Amy Porter are with us. I wouldn't be here without their support. Marty and I built businesses and a family together. She's as solid as a rock, and I know she's going to make a fine First Lady. I hope she doesn't know this, but today Marty is in the seat where her late father, Representative Bob Argo, once served. Thank you, Representative Hughley, for the honor of allowing Marty to share your seat today. That was an incredibly kind gesture. Mr. Bob was a good old Southern Democrat who never met a stranger. As many of you all know, he loved the Georgia Bulldogs, and he worked across the aisle to deliver for his district. Representative Argo raised Marty to be a fighter and a public servant. When I was frustrated as a business guy who wanted to make a difference, he encouraged me to run. He stood with our family through thick and thin. His legacy continues to inspire us daily. Representative Argo was a wise man, and he knew that building is faster when there's more people involved. We have more that unites us than divides us. Join us, and let's put hard-working Georgians first. I say pick up that hammer and some nails. Together, let's build a safer, stronger Georgia. Thank you so much. May God bless you, and God continue to bless this great state of Georgia. Great job. Thank you. Thank you. Where am I going? You're going to this seat over here, and I'm going to bring up the seat over there. Good job. Good job.
great with Marty and his dad. Steve. That's awesome. Thank you, Governor, for those comments, and I'm looking forward to serving with you. Madam Doorkeeper, please escort the Governor and his committee of escorts from the chamber at this time.
See you around.
Yeah, absolutely. You good? I'd like to call this joint session back into order. I'd like to recognize the Senate President Pro Tem.
Mr. President, I hereby move that this joint session of the Georgia Legislature be dissolved.
The question is on the adoption of the motion by the President Pro Tem that this joint session be dissolved. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, no.
No!
The ayes clearly have it, and this joint session is hereby dissolved.
As soon as our friends from the Senate stroll on out, we've got a little bit more business to do here. Little bit more business. If you have signed up for an announcement, please make your way to the front of the chamber and be in position. All right, we're going on now to announcements. We are going on to announcements. Chair recognizes Representative McLean for an announcement. All right, we got two choices. I can wait till 2 or 3 or 4 o'clock this afternoon to recognize the gentleman for his announcement, and we'll sit here till then. Or we will take seats and be quiet and respectful for the announcements. I'll let y'all decide. Chair recognizes Representative McLean.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The Georgia Working Families Legislative Caucus is having our first lunch today in room 307 of the CLOB upon adjournment. Thank you.
Chair recognizes Chairman England for an announcement.
Well, good morning still. Just want to let you know about your budget book. It will be combined in one volume this year instead of 2 separate books. Those should be available shortly, but we will send out an email to all members to let you know when it is available for pickup over in the CLOB in Suite 412, which is the House Budget and Research Office. We should be getting them there very shortly, but we will notify you by email that they're there and ready for your pickup. 1 copy per member is what is allocated. We do pay for those, so we keep up with that too. So keep up with your copy. I'd recommend writing your name on the cover because some folks do like to snatch those. But anyway, look forward to seeing as many of you possible here starting on Tuesday for our joint budget hearings on Tuesday and Wednesday, block grant hearings on Thursday. That schedule has gone out, so you should have that as well. So thank you very much.
Chair recognizes Representative Petrie for an announcement.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Ladies and gentlemen of the House, I want to remind all of you and personally invite you next Thursday. I know we're going to be in just for appropriations hearings, but Thursday night, the 24th, guys, that is Savannah Day, and we will have our, I know it's unfortunate it falls when it does this year, the greatest event of the session, Savannah Night. But we do want to invite y'all to come and eat seafood and oysters with us. Please be there if you can. Again, next Thursday, the 24th night. I want to also mention to our delegation, all of our Chatham County delegation, we are going to have a meeting immediately after session today with our chairman, Ron Stevens. Or at 1 o'clock, I'm sorry. 1 o'clock today. Thank you.
Representative Petrie, would you agree with the chair that the planning of the date for Savannah Day was probably not the best it's ever been? The chair's going to miss it. So, chair recognizes Representative Watson for an announcement.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. We're going to get kicked off with the Rural Caucus upon adjournment at in room 403. Look forward to seeing everybody back there. We're going to have a welcome back from Will Bentley, the new Georgia Agribusiness Council president. And then we're also going to get an update from our Ag Commissioner, Gary Black, on the hurricane relief and what's going on with that. So look forward to seeing everybody there. Thank you.
Chair recognizes Chairman Cooper for an announcement.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I think most of you are probably aware that now more Americans die from drug-related deaths than they do from car accidents. And today is Substance Abuse Awareness Day, and there are people gathered in the rotunda, if they're still here, that have been affected by these kinds of deaths. And there are also people that are victims who have suffered from addiction. I hope you'll go downstairs and listen to their testimonies of hope and recovery, because recovery is possible. And I'm heartened to hear our governor talk about that we are moving into a stage of treatment and recovery and more money for mental health. So I hope you will take time to see if they are still in the rotunda. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Chair recognizes Representative Bennett for an announcement.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. To my colleagues in the House, tomorrow is a great day. It is the state of Georgia's annual Martin Luther King Jr. tribute, hosted by the Martin Luther King Jr. Advisory Council. Present tomorrow will be our Governor, Brian Kemp, and also the keynote speaker this year will be the Honorable Shirley Franklin. So we do hope that you can come back to the Capitol on January the 18th, which is tomorrow at 12 noon, and join us in the north wing of the Capitol to celebrate this great occasion and this great Georgian, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Chair recognizes Representative Mabel Thomas for an announcement.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and distinguished members of this body. It almost as if Representative Karen Bennett always sets me up perfectly, because what I'm here to tell you is that the City of Atlanta delegation has changed their time for their organizational meeting, which will include the elections, has changed it from 12 because of the King celebration. So at 10 o'clock, the City of Atlanta delegation will meet. There has been notification sent out, but just in case we miss it, 10 o'clock tomorrow, the 18th, please come back, room 605, LOB, City of Atlanta delegation, organizational meeting and elections. Thank you, and God bless.
That completes our announcements for today. Chair wants to remind you that we will be out of session tomorrow and all of next week, and we will be back, as the majority leader will move here shortly, on Monday the 28th for a 3-day week, and then we will flee town unless we have tickets to the Super Bowl, in which case we'll stay. Chair recognizes the majority leader of the House for a motion.
Mr. Speaker, I move that this House stand adjourned until 10 a.m. Monday, January the 28th, 2019, and then reconvene.
Majority Leader has moved that this House be adjourned until Monday, January 28th at 10 a.m. All those in favor of the motion will say aye. Those opposed will say no. The ayes have it, and this House will be adjourned until Monday, January 28th at 10 a.m. for day 5.